Oh, hey there. Heard you want to learn about tools. Today's your lucky day. What up? It's Pressman here. Today you're learning about tools. I got all these beautiful toolboxes here lined up for you. Pretty much every color of the rainbow. We got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, black. Then my personal toolbox here is the big white one. I've got other ones over there. I've got a red toolbox there for my advanced classes. I've got more toolboxes in there. But for starting off auto info, stuff like that, we'll be using these toolboxes. They're all the same. And right now I just want to go over what's inside of them. So up top here, we've got our standard wrenches. These are called combination wrenches. I have a metric set over here, and I've got a standard set. So metric means it is measured in millimeters. So you can see that says 22 millimeters. Standard means measured in inches. You know, in America, we measure stuff like your height in inches, but a lot of other places in the world, they measure in meters, kilograms. We measure in inches and pounds. So we have both wrenches because our older vehicles, we'll say anything pre-19, I'm gonna say 1980. Okay, that's a broad range, but if it was made before 1980 and in America, then it uses standard. If it was made after 1980, there's a good chance that there is mostly metric fasteners. However, there were periods of time where you can mix and match both these. So we call this a combination wrench because it's got a combination of two different styles of, we'll call it ways to grip the fastener. We have an open end and we have a closed end. So that's a combination wrench, is an open end and a closed end. You can have some wrenches that have two open ends, that's called an open end wrench, or have two closed ends, that's called a closed end wrench. But if you got a combination of both, you got a combination wrench. Simple enough? I thought so too. In here, we got some other stuff. We got our pliers. Now these pliers, most people understand, like, okay, this is, well, you call it your standard set of pliers. Like, this is the one kind of everybody's seen. And most people have seen these two. And these ones you might have seen, but you don't really know what they're called. And same thing with these ones. Most people have probably seen them around, right? Anyways, these ones are the one everybody knows their names to. They're needle nose, because they have a needle point to them. Needle nose pliers. They also have a small little area you can cut stuff with. But yeah, meant for grabbing small fasteners and maybe small cotter pins and things like that. Go to these ones. These ones are called slip joint pliers. They're called slip joint because if you can see that little pin, I can move this jaw side to side and I can grab different size fasteners with it simply by moving that handle over. So that's called slip joint because I can slip that handle in either side of that. These ones, you know what these are called. These are wire cutters, okay? They're meant for cutting wire. Yeah, pretty straightforward, huh? Don't put your finger in there because, yeah, it will make you bleed, I promise. Don't ask me how I know. These ones, last but not least, the other pliers in your box, these ones are called, they're called technically arc joint pliers. You see how there's arcs in here? I'm gonna grab something I can point with. You see right here how there are arcs? So that means I can grab small fasteners. You see how they're closed? Or I can move down and I can grab larger fasteners just by depending on which joint that is in. Okay, so those are arc joint pliers. Now, if you have been around tools for a little bit, I promise you, nobody calls them arc joint pliers. Everybody calls them channel locks. And channel locks are simply a brand name, okay? Channel locks are simply a brand name, all right? Moving over to this other drawer. Oh, sorry, we did miss one thing. That is a set of calipers. These are for measuring things. They're digital. This one I believe has a battery dead in them because they sat for 6 months. But I can measure things very, very accurately. You will not be using those right off the hip. Other things I've got in the other top drawer. You see here there's two top drawers that are kind of half size. I've got this. This is our tire inflator. I'll show you guys how to use that once we get in person. The other things I got in the top drawer is a tire pressure gauge. I'll show you guys how to use that as well. Right now I'm just simply going over what's in the box. This is a tire tread depth gauge. So, tire inflator, tire tread depth gauge, tire pressure gauge. This guy is a magnet. It's meant for picking up things you dropped. Like if I drop that in a weird place, I can pick it up. It's not a toy, so please don't break it. This, I don't even want to go over right now, so don't worry about that guy. This is a flashlight. Pretty handy thing to have. And last but not least, in the top drawer are your lug nut sockets. And we'll talk about where we're using those here soon. So these are lug nut sockets for taking off lug nuts. Well, for taking off the other nuts and bolts, we have these other assorted tools here. All right, moving on to sockets. These are the sockets that are in your drawer. You have the sockets, which are meant to go on the fastener that you're trying to take on or install. We have metric. These are our metric. It goes from 8mm to 19mm. These are our standard. It goes from 5/16 to 3/4 of an inch. Okay, this is a 3/8 drive socket set. What that means is that little square nub right there is 3/8 of an inch, which means that little square hole is 3/8 of an inch. And that little square peg is 3/8 of an inch. We also have other drive types. We have 1/4 inch drive. 1/4 inch is smaller than a 3/8. So that 1/4 inch drive ratchet is much smaller than a 3/8 drive ratchet. We also have one bigger than 3/8, which is 1/2 inch. And that is what we use for our impact sockets on our lug nuts and our impact gun. Okay? So in your toolbox, this will be a quiz question. Your socket set is 3/8 drive. Your impact wrench or your impact gun is 1/2 inch drive. So right there's two quiz questions, 1/2 inch drive for the impact and 3/8 drive for the complete socket set. Okay? A couple quick things right there. The other thing that is 1/2 inch drive is your big torque wrench. This torque wrench we use for torquing down all of our lug nuts to the specification to make sure they are tight enough so they don't fall off your car. The other thing you would have guessed that would be in a toolbox are our screwdrivers. We have two types of screwdrivers. We have flathead, which are flat, or also called slotted, which nobody ever calls it that. And we have a Phillips head, which the Phillips head is a cross, just kind of like a little plus sign, depending on how you hold it, or a little X. A couple other little things I have in here. Got some wire brushes just for cleaning stuff, and this is an oil filter wrench right here. So, oil filter wrench, wire brushes, screwdrivers. I have the torque wrench and the impact gun in the bottom drawer. So this is the bottom drawer. I'm gonna go over everything again. This drawer here, I've got my socket set, and I think I forgot to talk about these. These are called Allen wrenches or hex keys. So you guys have probably seen these. If you've ever put together IKEA furniture, you've used these, I guarantee it. There's one other kind of that is a star. They're called Torx, T-O-R-X. They're kind of similar to Allen keys, but they're not. For Allen keys, we have, if you can see here, we have our metric side, we have our standard side, and then we also have our Torx keys. Up here, we've got our pliers and our calipers. Up here, we've got our tire inflator, our flashlight, our tread depth gauge, tire pressure gauge, our magnet. Remember, we don't care about this little thing, this eyedropper thing, we don't care about for now. Our lug nut sockets, which are right here. And this one here, this is actually a brake pad lining gauge. Once again, not too concerned about these two ones right here. I'm not going to quiz you on them. The rest of them will be on the quiz. Hopefully you found this somewhat informative. Pretty quick, easy, simple. Got any questions, let me know. Thanks.